Everyone is telling you to offload repetitive tasks to AI, but does that advice apply equally across the board? You're a franchisee trying to do more with less, and everywhere you look, the message is the same. AI is the answer. But are you asking the right questions before trusting it to take over a task? In this episode, I'm going to show you that just because AI can complete employee tasks doesn't mean it should, and how delegating to it too early might also sabotage your employees' progress and the long term growth of your business. I'm April Porter, teaching the things that bring you swag, sanity, wealth, and gratitude. Let's get into it. So, for today's episode, we're going to use KPIs as the example for our discussion around what should AI take over and what should AI not take over. Now, KPIs, if you're unfamiliar with that acronym, it stands for Key Performance Indicators. And there are several layers of KPIs that, when you put them into your business, help your team drive the revenue for you. So KPIs are one of the biggest tools to actually helping you delegate more, pull yourself out of the day-to-day operations, and get your team to not only execute and do service delivery and things that have to get done in your business, but to actually drive new revenue. And so if you don't know what KPIs are, I'll talk a little bit later about how you can learn from us about KPIs in a free workshop. But for now, you need to know that KPIs exist in multiple areas of your business. So you would have system-wide KPIs, and that might be your franchisors' KPIs who are telling you this is where your unit should be for how long you've been in business, or benchmarks. And then you're going to have your own business-wide KPIs, which means how should the business as a whole be performing? From there, then you need to break it down, and each manager or leader would have KPIs for what their team is responsible for. And then each team member would have personal KPIs that they need to achieve that indicate if they are actually executing the job description, or are they falling behind, or are they exceeding expectations and they're actually performing much better than expected. So KPIs are a tool that is used in your business to reflect on all of those things, but also to show you where the gaps are so that you can determine what actions need to be taken in order to drive to the goal. And that's ultimately what a KPI is. So in your business, one of the tools that you will want to have in place is a KPI tracker. And a KPI tracker should be used daily. Everyone who has KPIs should be starting their shift by looking at the KPI tracker. Now, this could be a dashboard, this could be a spreadsheet, but it needs to be something that shows them today, where are you in relation to the goal or the KPI that you have to hit by month end. Let's take an example. We walk in, I used to own gyms, and our KPI tracker would have how much money we needed to bring in every single day if we were going to hit the monthly revenue goal. And my team would come in and they would take a look at the KPI tracker and they would say, okay, today's goal is we have to generate $1,000 in the gym today. And then they were responsible for looking at overnight drafts because we had recurring revenue through memberships. And so they looked at how many charges had come through overnight on the automatic draft of credit cards. And so when they come into their shift, they would say, okay, we have to make $1,000 in the business today. And we had $500 come through in overnight drafts. Great. So that means we have a $500 that I have to make up today for us to stay on track to hit our revenue goal at the end of the month. Now, at this point in time, it is the employee's job to figure out how are you going to generate $500 in revenue. Are you going to sell merchandise, or do you have free workouts planned for today where you're going to have opportunities to sell memberships? If you don't have either one of those things, then the chances of adding $500 goes down dramatically. So what needs to happen at that point? Well, if we don't make the $500 today, that means we're going to be off pace for making our monthly goal. So we've got to make it up somewhere along the line between now and the end of the month. How do you do that? We have to attract more prospects to come in and try the free workout so that we have opportunities to make a membership sale. So now, if I can't sell merchandise and I can't sell a membership today, then I better be working on the prospect list in order to get people to come through the door later in the month during my shifts so that I can sell them memberships at that time. The KPI tracker acts as the blueprint for how your employee structures their time in your business so that they are paying attention to revenue and they are intentionally designing their workday to drive the KPIs, to drive the revenue. This was a process that we had to teach our employees, and we had to spend time not only training them on KPIs, but also developing the strategic thinking piece that has to go into understanding how to turn the numbers in the tracker into the human actions that actually influenced the revenue at the end of the month. So if you're listening to this and thinking, my team doesn't track their KPIs, my team doesn't even have KPIs, or I don't even know how to create KPIs, then I invite you to come to my franchise growth formula workshop. You can register for the free workshop by clicking the link in this episode description. We'll be diving into KPIs and other strategies that are the key to breaking through the revenue plateaus and building more sanity into your business operations. The workshop is practical and you'll leave with an actionable blueprint you can implement immediately. So once you have the KPIs in place, you'll notice that it is a process to get your employees to look at the spreadsheet, look at the dashboard, to enter the numbers that they need to enter, to remember the routine of reporting to you their end of shift progress. And you might notice that there's also friction in doing the activities that they need to do, such as calling prospects, such as selling the merchandise and things of that nature as well. So when we see, oh my gosh, this is a gap where my employees are not executing in the way that I need them to each shift, it's very easy to turn to AI and say, well, could AI take this over? Could we just start having AI pull the numbers for the auto drafts, put it in the dashboard? Could we have the AI reminding them throughout the shift, there's a $400 deficit. Here's some ideas that you could do to sell. Yes, you could do all of that. But here's the problem. You've already done that piece as the owner. You've already shown them the tracker, how to look at the dashboard. You've already told them these are the things that need to happen, and they're not doing it. So when you announce that you have an AI employee now who is going to take this over, the emotion that your employees are going to feel is utter relief. Great. I don't have to worry about that anymore. I don't have to get an earful about how I didn't do something, or I don't have to feel guilty about not doing something, or inferior because I just don't understand how to interpret this dang KPI tracker and what I'm supposed to do about it. None of that will go away by instituting an AI employee. What will make that go away is going back to your employees and helping them to develop these skills. You help them develop these skills by making them do the repetitious work of putting the numbers into the tracker, of writing down the plan that equals $500 for the shift. That then they create their own goals or their own actions for the shift. Okay, I'm going to then call 10 prospects with the hope of getting one to say yes. Now, if you listen to me at all, you know I love to say hope is not a strategy. So that would be a level 1 of what we want an employee to do. But ultimately, we want the employee to get to a place where they understand that when we contact 10 prospects, one comes in for a free workout, and we know that based upon the data. So if it's not 10 and then you have to contact 25 prospects in order to get one to say yes to a free workout, then we want them to create the plan thinking, I need to call 25 prospects, not 10. So that's part of training and developing your employees. And the only way that you're going to help them get over the friction of doing this is not if you just suddenly insert AI and save them from having to do it themselves. This is where we really have an opportunity to use AI to help us identify the places in our business where we need to be actually focusing more on the humans. Human first, AI second. Once you have your employees with the right skills in place, and they understand how to interpret the data and what they need to do to adapt their activities to influence that data, at that point in time, then you could have AI take over pieces of it so that it can help them use their time better, but not before. Because if you do it before, revenue will ultimately suffer. Because if you have 5 people driving the revenue, that's much better than one person who drives the revenue now, which is you, saying, okay, I'm going to get AI to take more off my plate so I can free up a little bit more time to drive more revenue. Will that have a good impact on your revenue? Of course, but it's not going to have 5 times the impact on your revenue that you would have if you have 5 employees who are driving revenue the same way you would. So that's where you really want to take a step back before just implementing any AI in your business and do an evaluation and say, is this really a problem for AI to solve? Or is this a problem that leadership solves, training and development solves? If that's the case, then we have to do leadership, training, and development first, and then AI. Long-term business success runs on employees that execute the way that you do, both human and AI. So outsourcing the tasks that develop humans into revenue drivers means choosing to sacrifice long-term success. Again, if you want the full framework of how to develop your human employees to grow your business for you with responsible AI use, register for the free workshop by clicking the link in this episode description.